this is live recording, but it hasn't really started yet because I can edit it. So we're gonna start this off with like crazy loud applause, like standing ovations, starting applause. No one knows that I'm setting this up, okay? So everybody ready? As soon as I sit down, like crazy applause for these two. Ready? Welcome everybody to the first ever live recording of the Publisher's Playbook. I'm Jerrid Grimm. We have two incredible brands, Patagonia and Bark, two incredible marketers, Cricket and Kirk. And it wasn't that easy getting these two up here. They came with very specific riders. Cricket required that I wear Patagonia clothes, and Kirk required that I own a dog. So I got this brand new shirt, and my kids got a puppy. I'm just kidding. I really am big fans of both of these brands, and I think you guys probably are too. Just by show of hands and a little bit of noise, who's a fan of Patagonia out there? There we go. And who owns a dog? Who's a dog parent out there? And whose dog owns a Patagonia vest out there? Nobody. Nobody? Oh, really? It's amazing. I thought we'd have a little brand collab here maybe, right? Look for my promo code. Well, let's get started. So, Kirk, you've been on the iPX stage before, actually, a few years ago, I think 2018? 18, so you're a boomerang here to iPX. You're also a boomerang to Bark, because you were there previously. Then you spent some time at Walmart, spent some time on the publisher side at Raptive, and then full circle back to Bark. So how did all of those different experiences kind of change your outlook on this partnership channel?
Yeah, it was really great going over to, the large e-com brand for a while, get to play with just absurd budgets and test things out that you never would get to test. Longer running campaigns, things with creators, shoppable live streams, just all the expensive stuff that we can put on their credit card.
Yeah.
And then really on the publisher side, it was really good to get a focus on different brands and what their goals were, what their KPIs were, and understand and get out of your own bubble of this is what I focus on every day, and kind of get a sense of like, all right, I'm working with brand A, B, and C. They're focused on X, Y, and Z. It's really good to get that full spectrum perspective.
Yeah, it's not common for someone to have worked in like every specific kind of stakeholder role within that economy, right? But pretty valuable.
I like to jump around. I like to get diversity there.
Cool. And then Cricket, you were an environmental studies major. You spent some time at Nature Conservancy. You worked for a green storage startup called Soluna, and then at Patagonia. So my question is, how did you get into affiliate marketing?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people I've talked to in this industry, nobody had a really clear path to affiliate. It wasn't something that you graduated school and were like, I'm going to be an affiliate marketer. And I didn't even know I wanted to go into marketing when I graduated from school. I studied environmental studies, so I didn't have a communications major. But I knew that I wanted to work for a brand that had strong brand values and environmental responsibility, sustainability, kind of aligning with my own brand or my own values. And right out of college, I got a job, entry-level marketing role at Soluna, which is a tech startup, building solar-powered data centers, which I knew nothing about marketing solar energy or data centers, but learned a lot in that role and really learned my love of digital marketing. And knew that then I wanted to work for a values-based brand and in a marketing role. So then I kind of was in between jobs. Patagonia store was opening up in my town, and I figured just do a temporary retail job with Patagonia for the holidays. And from there, I just kind of like seeked out any marketing opportunities to grow my skills. I did the Instagram at the store. I did the events at the store. Ended up landing a contract role on our e-commerce team where I was supporting all of our paid media channels, including affiliate, and just started loving affiliate. There was a lot of opportunity in the channel. Nobody was really managing it head on. So I kind of put more energy there. And about a year and a half ago, we started a new role at the company managing affiliate in-house, which is the role that I'm currently in. So kind of went a lot of different directions, but really excited about kind of the progress I made and where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and you actually worked in the store at Patagonia, which is, I think that's always a cool story when you've actually worked directly with consumers in that retail. So how did that like craft or change your view of the Patagonia customer?
Yeah, I mean, it's where I really learned to love the brand. I always knew about the brand and wore it growing up, but I didn't know about all of the great things that it did. So I learned a lot about the brand and about the customer and the product, which made me love it even more, just actually like getting to know the product more, getting to talk to people. And it's actually a lot of what I learned in the store I use in my current job, because I can talk to publishers about products and who we're trying to get after. And it's been really helpful in my career, just like knowing the company at the base.
Cool. And you still get the employee discount?
Yeah.
I did not get the employee discount for this year, by the way. Retail's crazy competitive, right? Like no matter if you're doing like dog toys and treats or whether you're doing like vests and hiking gear. So I'm curious how each of you have like the brand positioned in the market. So to be able to stand out in that competitive space. Maybe Kirk, we'll start with you.
Yeah. I think Bark is a pretty unique brand. We tend to, just kind of do things a little bit differently. We see a lot of different dog companies, and it's all very flat and just kind of, safe, I guess we'll say. We don't do that. We try to go over the top with everything. We've got, these toys that are called rip and reveals, where you tear it open, or your dog tears it open. There's another toy underneath it, and it's always one of the funniest things to see, people that post about that, and they're like, where the hell did this toy come from that I don't remember buying, but somehow my dog found? And it's just, it's one of the things that we like to do. We have little things on the tags too that are, funny little quotes or sayings, or on the squeakers. And it's just these little nods that we do that, dog parents get to see. And I feel like it, gives them like a little special moment where they, their dog rips something open, and then, they get happy seeing these little funny jokes and quips that we list in there. So
Yeah, it seems like a brand that you can have a bit of fun with, right? It's not like serious all the time. I think that's a cool.
Very rarely serious.
Yeah, very rarely.
Kind of have to be with dogs.
Totally. And then Cricket, what about you with Patagonia?
Yeah, I mean, I think Patagonia, what makes it unique is that we really lead with our values in everything that we do, and that includes in product. So we're really thoughtful about how we source the fabrics, what materials we're using, the labor that goes into it, and it's all in hopes of making a product that has as small of a footprint to the planet as possible. But what I think is also unique about the brand is that the products themselves, they're such high quality that they stand on their own. So not knowing any of the other great sustainable aspects of the product itself has really high quality. It's really multifunctional. You can have it for a long time. So those two things combined, I think, is why we can reach such a wide audience and why we've been such a strong brand for so long.
Yeah. Well, I imagine there's a huge focus on like controlling the quality of the product that way. And I think that's interesting because in partnership channel, a lot of it is about like letting go of control, right? And having your partners be able to talk about products kind of the way that they want to, and draw consumers in. And sometimes you end up with like a pretty wide variety of consumers when you do that, different types. I mean, I know like Patagonia vests are iconic in like even the venture capital community, or if you're like a hiker in the Swiss Alps, or if you're like the moderator of an industry podcast, for example, right? Like you get like all these kind of customers out there. So like who is the Patagonia customer in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a bit of a contradiction. There's like the dirtbag outdoorsman, that's kind of like who we're trying to reach. And then there's the tech bro on Wall Street that's wearing a vest to the office. I think when we think about who we're marketing to, we're looking for somebody that aligns with our values, someone that is buying clothes because it is the more sustainable option, because they don't have to buy a lot of like the same product over and over again because it's going to last a long time, and somebody that wants to use those products outdoors when they're skiing, hiking, running. That's who we're marketing to, but we still understand that that's not the only customer that we have. There's a wider range of people. And when I think about it, it's not disappointing that there's people out there that aren't buying the products because of the sustainable aspects. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, more Patagonia products in people's closets means hopefully a smaller impact on the planet because it's higher quality goods. You can have them for a long time. They're not trendy, so it's not something you have to buy over and over again. Again, it's really multifunctional, so you can wear it to the office, but then you can wear it on a hike and the weekend. And I think overall what we're trying to do is eliminate the need for overconsumption. So even if somebody isn't buying our product because of all the great things that go into it, having a Patagonia product in somebody's closet is a win for us. And I always come back to our mission statement when I get a question like this. And our mission statement is in business to save our home planet. And a big part of that is in business. So we do have to sell products in order to do all of the great things that we're doing. So somebody buys something from Patagonia, it's a win for me, and it's helping us achieve our larger goals.
That's cool. I like that idea that like if you have a Patagonia product in your closet, you are being sustainable because it's going to last a long time. It's timeless, right? And you're kind of reducing the churning through a bunch of like disposable clothes type idea. That's cool. And business for good, right? At Bark, which is like you said, it's kind of a fun brand. We also like launched a really interesting products over the last while. I think there's like a dating app for dogs, right?
Bark Buddy.
What's it called?
Bark Buddy.
Bark Buddy. Oh man, that'd be fun to just come up with like dating apps for dog names, right? You also have your own branded toys as well, right? And then this one's crazy. You have a private airline called Bark Air.
We do.
Which is for dogs, which is like, it's already bad enough if you're like, see people going to first class and you're in economy like I was, right? But imagine like a dog going to first class. Like that doesn't feel right, right? So how do you decide like what products you're going to launch and which ones? I imagine there's a million great ideas out there. How do you decide on what you guys are going to launch?
Yeah. We want to be the dog company, and I think if you ask anybody in this room, what do you think of when you think of a dog company? There's going to be, 20 different answers. I don't think anybody's really captured that title yet. And that's what we want to do. That's where we want to be. We want to show up for dogs everywhere and just make all dogs happy. That's our mission statement. Yeah. We tend to lean into our CEO, Matt Meeker, who's incredibly visionary when it comes to this stuff. I mean, he was talking about getting an airline for dogs when I was back my first round at Bark. 8 years later, he made it a reality. But I think the biggest thing is nothing that we do is done as a MVP solution. It's not a minimum viable product. We want it to be good and ready to go. That doesn't mean it's not without its own problems, but there's a lot of market research that we do to find out, where to show up for dogs and what they need and what we can do for them. And I think that's kind of how we decide where to go into and what we want to focus on. And we do actually have something else that we're launching later this summer. I wish I could share what it is now, but I can't.
Kirk is now announcing the next product, no?
But it's helicopters for dogs. No, but it will be a commissionable product, so publishers out there, keep an eye out. It'll be coming probably August. So
nice. That's
down
cool.
the road.
That's great. I think one thing that we've wanted to do is make sure that brands are able to share a lot more about their products and like what they stand for so that all of our partners are able to figure out, hey, is this a good fit for me? Is this the right brand that I should be working with based on more than just like, hey, here's the commission rate and here's the way the product is available. So when we move over to that, we move from like sharing that company information, which is super helpful, to these partnerships that are going to grow your awareness and your sales. There are a lot of different partner types out there, right? You got content and review sites, you have deal and coupon sites, you have all types of different ones. I'm curious how you view those different partner types and how you work with them. So maybe Kirk, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, we try to work across everything. I think, our influencers, our content sites, the review sites, they're really great for showing up and kind of getting like a new message out there. I think the place that we want to be with them is showing that experience of getting a Bark box each month and, the dog joy, ripping it open, ripping the toys, and just having, just being able to showcase that. But also we want to show up where people are like, we've seen your brand before, we've seen it on social. We're ready to buy. We want to make sure that we're getting, best deal possible, whether it's, we have promos that are Crocs for your dog, little booties, they're super cute. Splash pad that comes free with your first purchase. There's a lot of gift with purchases that we do, and we want to make sure that, our deal and coupon sites and loyalty sites are able to show that message out there, and make sure that when they're ready to buy, they do buy, they convert. they don't abandon, and they're confident they're getting the best deal possible. And it's important to work with everybody, I think, across that funnel. Shout out to my folks at Ziff Davis if they're still in the room, covering all parts of that. It's great.
Nice little shout out in the middle of there.
Yeah.
I like that you said Crocs with dogs as if that's a normal sentence, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's just
like when
the
you
thing,
tell
right?
people what you do, you're like, yeah, I'm just working on these Crocs for dogs,
Yeah.
busy life, busy job.
And I still don't know if we say a pair of Crocs because it's technically 4
Right.
Crocs. I don't know. It's confusing. Two pairs of Crocs.
For sure. Cricket, what about you?
Yeah, kind of the same. We work with a variety of partners across all different categories. But I think where the biggest, our biggest emphasis and like where we're trying to grow in the channel is with content. I think about the products that we have, and we have lifestyle product for like everyday going to the office, general hikes and things. And then we have more technical gear in 7 core sports. So it's a lot of different products across a lot of different sports and communities that we're trying to reach. And the content space really allows us to do that, where we can work with a publisher that's an expert in the sport community who's able to relay the message of the product for how you're supposed to be wearing it and why it makes it different from other brands. I think a lot about, like, a good example of this is we had one of our biggest campaigns this spring was a pair of fly fishing waders, which isn't the most commercial product. It's kind of hard to sell as a marketer. But for me, I could say, hey, we have 10 great endemic fly fishing publishers in our affiliate channel. Let's optimize with them when the campaign is running. Let's give them all the information about the waders. Let's send them a few pairs. And they're the ones that are going to be talking about the waders the way that they should be talked about. And they're going to reach the audience that's going to be the ones that are purchasing the products or understanding like why you would want to buy a $500 pair of waders.
Jeez.
So that's really important for us in growing those content partnerships to be able to cover all of the products that we have. We still see value in loyalty and deal sites. We have them in our program. It's not a big area of growth, but I do understand that there is a specific customer that only discovers brands when there's some kind of incentive that they're going to get back, or only shops in that way, and we don't want to limit ourselves and not show up in that space. But Patagonia isn't a really discount-heavy brand, so we're not really showing up in that space organically as much. We do value those partnerships. It's just not an area that we're trying to grow as much as content, where we see kind of more value in the storytelling aspects.
Yeah, makes sense. $500 pair of waders. Imagine that's what Cricket made me wear as part of the rider was plywood fishing.
Really
What a
hot.
missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. I think that's what's cool about like all these different partner types is you can run one program, fulfill like these different areas of a consumer journey, fulfill different goals. We have like over 150,000 partners in the Impact Marketplace. A bunch of them are here today. What advice do you have for partners that would like to be working with Bark or working with Patagonia? What is it that you look for that gets you excited?
Yeah, when I'm doing research on who we should be adding to the program, I like to see the current content that you have, kind of get an understanding of what you're currently talking about, where Patagonia could fit into that content, and kind of get a sense of your storytelling to see if it's a good fit. So I think like arming yourself with examples when we're kind of in that discussion. I like to vet all the partners that we're working with. So it does take a little bit of time for me to review. I am a one-person team, doing kind of everything else along with the recruiting and accepting into the program. But I do like to do my due diligence and understand like how we're going to show up in your space. And then I also like to see like what's the content that people are engaging with the most. So if you're only talking about discounted product or sales, and that's kind of the bulk of your content, it may not be that great of a fit for me because we're not off price that often, and it's kind of not the message that we're trying to get across to the customer. We don't want that to be the reason why somebody's buying our product. We want them to know all the other great things about the brand. So I think just having really great content examples to help me like vision what that partnership would look like is really helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think from my time on the publisher side as well, I think giving them kind of a taste of what, we've already done this, look what we did. That's always a good way of me kind of being like, let me click through and see what's going on here and what they said about us, how they're talking about us, how we're like showing up in their content to see if it's a natural fit. But I think just kind of being there and you know, showing what they're talking about and kind of how they storytell, or you know, how they're positioning us. I think just giving that like little taste ahead of time as like a, you know, here's what we could be doing more of. It's a good way of just kind of like standing apart from the rest of the crowd. It shows that you like want to be a part of this, you know, partnership and work with our brand. You know, to show up that you've already done anything for us is you know, just a huge way of getting on my radar at least.
Yeah, so good content out there and making sure they can like share it with you in a way so you can understand a little bit more about what it is that they do. Are there any like green flags where you just see a partner and you're like, this is just something, it's hard to exactly like fit into a profile or anything, but some green flags that you're just like, I love, or gets me really excited to work with a partner?
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's brand alignment there, if you have some kind of environmental responsible values, if you're talking about most sustainable brands in your content currently, if there's kind of content around that, that's a major green flag for me, because I know that we're aligned just from the jump. And then I just know that it's going to be a good partnership down the line, because you kind of understand our brand right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you, Kirk?
It's going to sound super cliched, but I feel like whenever I'm working with anybody, if they have a dog already, they kind of just get it. I think being a dog parent is fantastic, and you get this sort of weird relationship with your dog where they do weird things that you kind of normalize, and that's kind of how we are as a brand. So I feel like people that I talk to that already have a dog, that, you know, I want them to say the weird thing or suggest the thing that a bigger company would be like, well, I'm not working with them because they just said this. Those are sort of the green flags that I look for, because I want them to be able to turn on that sort of weirdness when it comes time that we're, you know, doing something with a Star Wars licensed product that are, you know, lightsabers that are a little, you know, maybe phallic, and that's kind of our thing. It's weird. But it's fun to show up like that, and I want them to be able to, you know, have that shared experience of dog ownership and that mutual weirdness that comes with, you know, being woken up by a dog licking your face.
Right. Yeah, until you have a dog, you don't know. I went for dinner with the BarkBox crew a few years ago when I joined Impact, and I had just gotten my dog at that time, so I didn't buy a dog just for today, just so we're clear on that. And so I had just gotten my dog. I wasn't a very good dog parent, I found out. So we're sitting there at dinner, and everyone there has a dog, and they're like, yeah, just show a picture of your dog. And everyone has it like on their lock screen and their first 12 photos. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I'm sitting here scrolling for like the most awkward 15 seconds of my life, just desperately hoping there's a picture of this dog on there. It was I felt quite judged, I'm not gonna lie. So like, dog parents are different, but I do, if you look now, I've gotten much better. Yep. There's Zoe as my lock screen.
There you
so
go.
You didn't see it? Right there.
There you go.
Right there. Oh, no? Anyway, I'm a much better dog parent now. I think that's clear.
Such improvement.
Well, such improvement.
Yeah.
You know, so what I'm curious about, we're kind of coming up to the end here, and I'd love to hear if you have a specific partnership that you've really loved, that kind of paint a picture of something where you've worked with a partner, it's worked out really well, something that you've seen before. You want to have one?
Yeah, actually for my first time at Bark, I think this was back in 2017 maybe, holiday time period of 2017. There's an influencer at the time, Shane Dawson, who we worked with on a few Instagram stories and you know, sort of like smaller one-off things that always did really great. We were in talks of doing a longer form, like vlog type of content where we're sort of peppered in throughout. The video is going to be about them, him and his partner adopting a dog and that whole journey. So the overall theme really fit well. The price did not for our budget. And I had to do a lot of internal pitching and saying, you know, I think this is the one. This will be a good shot for us for holiday. We've got a lot of, you know, everything going for us. They storyboarded the video out. Basically what they were doing was they were adopting this dog. they put into the storyboard that they were going to be donating a portion of the fee that we were paying them to the shelter to get them a van to help with, vet visits or, actually physically rescuing dogs. And then just kind of peppered our name throughout. They showed toys here and there. It wasn't like an overt placement, but it was just so genuine and heartwarming and felt great to watch that video. I still watch it from time to time because it's just so fantastic. I think it's at like 20 million views now. And it was the best performing piece of content we had during that holiday period.
Cool.
It still kept having subscriptions come in, I think, until like that summer the next year. And it's just near and dear to my heart because they didn't have to do that part. They didn't have to give away whatever half of their fee, but they did because they got it and they wanted to be a part of that and do something good. And it just felt really great that it also worked out, fiscally within our budget. So.
Yeah, well, it's cool that it's like driving subscriptions so much like afterwards, right? It's hard to do that with an ad where it's like up for a while, it's down. You're not going to get anything after that. These kind of keep on going.
Yeah, the residuals, it was great.
Totally. What about you, Cricket?
Yeah, this is less of an affiliate campaign, but kind of a relationship and partnership that started with affiliate. So there's this endemic surf publication called Stab Mag, and they're really aligned with our brand. It's a really core sport surf audience, but it's just one of those pay-to-play publishers. So our PR team always wanted to get our products into their roundups and never really could until I kind of approached them about the affiliate program, opened the door to being able to pay for a partnership really, which started really small, but once we got our foot in the door, they came to us with an opportunity for a series they were doing. They do a recurring series called Electric Acid Surfboard Test, where they have a professional surfer come in and blind surf boards and rate them on which is the best surfboards from around the world. It's really big in the surf community. So with the relationship that we had with them, we were able to sponsor that episode, have one of our surf ambassadors be the tester. And it was one of their most successful series that they had. It was a really big moment internally for the brand. Leadership still talks about it. I don't think people knew that it was the affiliate relationship that started that. But it was just a really big brand moment for us to connect with the surf community. And it was really cool seeing that start with just reaching out about an affiliate relationship. So yeah, it's great to see like how those partnerships can grow once you start them.
Yeah, it's cool to have it like in your example, it starts off a partnership, and yours, it keeps it going for a long period of time, right? And that's what we're here for, is these like human to human partnerships where you're able to like establish a relationship and then grow it from there. I want to give a huge thanks as we wrap here to both Cricket and Kirk. We're going to be doing these episodes regularly where we're learning from brands about their products and everything that they stand for, as well as what it looks like to partner with them, what they're looking for in a partnership, and successes they've had before. So as we wrap here, can we get a huge congratulations and thank you to Kirk and Cricket.